Good afternoon. We're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome to Augusta Tech. If this is your first time coming, welcome to Cougar Nation. First of all, I want to just say thank you all so much for coming out on this beautiful, thankful Thursday to share with us in this event that we have for you today. I am so excited for what we are about to witness on this day. I am Shanice Green. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the Career Pathway Navigator and the facilitator for the First Time Student Guide team here at Augusta Tech. I would like to thank everyone who assisted me in making this event a success. And I would like to thank God, first of all, even before, everybody else that came out to help and participated in making this event a success. The speaker for the hour is going to share his story, his testimony with us today. He's going to talk about overcoming adversity and turning obstacles into stepping stones. He's also going to motivate, encourage, and inspire us on today. So after this short video, I want you all to stand to your feet and give a warm Augusta Tech Cougar Nation welcome to the speaker of the hour, husband, father, author, motivational speaker, philanthropist, and pastor, Unique Mackey. All right, ladies and gentlemen, give it up.
Thank you, Cougar Nation. I appreciate y'all coming out and hanging out with me this, I think it's still morning, or is it afternoon now? It's past 12, so it's afternoon. Thank you, Shanice, for that gracious introduction. Super excited to be here with you. I know that life is difficult. Trying to accomplish your goals, live out your purpose doesn't come without challenges. And I want to talk to you all briefly about how do I maximize my purpose? How do I push through pain and maximize my potential? I'm not the average speaker who tries to make it seem like they did everything right, and that's why they're successful. I'm actually the opposite. I feel like I did most things wrong, but there are a few principles that I did get right in the midst of my pain that ultimately led me to the place of purpose and prosperity in which I now stand. I'll never forget walking up to the front of a Zaxby's restaurant, about to go in and order my favorite wings and things combo, teriyaki extra Zax sauce. And I'm walking up to the front of this Zaxby's restaurant and I see an all-black Ford Excursion pulling in through the drive-thru. Now that's not odd because cars are supposed to go in through the drive-thru, but what was odd was whoever was in this all-black Ford Excursion was not rolling down their window to place an order. And so I just stood at the front of this Zaxby's restaurant and prepared for the worst, because if I'm being honest, I made a lot of bad decisions at this point in my life. So I stood there and just prepared for the worst. I couldn't see inside of the truck because the windows were so darkly tinted, but I knew whoever was in that truck had to be staring at me. And before I knew it, 4 men jumped out of that truck. One of them put a gun in my face, and all I heard was, "Unique, get down." It was the ATF. ATF stands for alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. And I don't know if you knew this or not, but it's not a good thing if you're on a first name basis with a federal agency. They said, "Unique, get down," and they threw me into the back of that all-black Ford Excursion, and they took me to federal prison. My life didn't start out that way. I grew up right outside of Atlanta in a city called College Park by Hartsfield International Airport. My father worked for Delta Airlines. He spoke 4 languages, graduated summa cum laude with a master's degree in international communications. My father was considered a brilliant man. He rose through the ranks of Delta. He was making over 6 figures in the early 80s. He was in charge of setting up Delta's international flight program. He spoke all these different languages. He would fly to different countries and help train those Delta agents. I mean, he was a phenomenal businessman. My mother did not have to work outside of the home. She stayed to take care of my sister and I. I love playing sports. My sister took modern and jazz, ballet, dance classes. I mean, people would joke with us, telling us that we were the Cosbys. I mean, my life could not have been any better growing up. Because my father worked for Delta, we flew for free. I've been to several different countries before I was even a teenager. But things started to change. I remember having to go to the hospital. My mother was sick, and my dad said, "Your mom's going to be in the hospital for a few months." And we didn't know what was going on because we thought that mom was fine. And Dad said, "Because of my corporate obligations and your mom being in the hospital, you and your sister are going to have to move to Memphis with friends. But just for a few months until mom gets better." So we moved to Memphis for a few months. We were there for 5 or 6 months before we saw mom and dad again. They flew into town, and we were super excited when they came into town because we knew that we were about to get to go back home and life was going to be back to normal. So one day, we were watching television. At that point in time, it was our favorite television show, my sister and I, The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So we were just chilling, watching The Fresh Prince. Dad came into the den and he said, "Unique, Chantal, we need to talk." So we look up because a commercial was on, was like, "Go ahead and say what you need to say before the Fresh Prince comes back home." He said, "No, it's serious. I need you all to follow me into the bedroom." So at this point, I'm thinking, what could be so serious that you interrupt the Fresh Prince? What's it? Dad, what's going on? My heart starts to beat a little faster and a little faster the closer I get to the bedroom. My mom was already in the corner of the bedroom with tears in her eyes, and Dad hadn't even opened up his mouth. So at this point, I'm thinking mom and dad are about to get a divorce. So I kind of braced myself for that news. I remember sitting down on the corner of the bed, looking at my dad. And he's looking down at me as if I'm the only one in the room. And he says, "Unique, your mother and I have an HIV virus, and there's no cure." I was only 11 years old, and I didn't know what HIV was, but I certainly knew what no cure meant. It meant no more fancy vacations. It meant no more fancy lifestyle. And worst of all, eventually, probably no more mom and dad. Shortly after receiving that news, I asked Dad, "How do you get HIV?" He said, Unique, I had an extramarital affair, contracted HIV, and unknowingly gave it to your mother. At that point, the man that I loved, the man that I looked up to, the man that I aspired to be like, turned into a murderer in my eyes. Things began to change. I knew that I had a purpose, but I didn't know how I was going to accomplish it, trying to push through this level of pain. Grades immediately dropped. I began acting out in school, surrounding myself with the wrong people, getting into drugs, selling drugs, getting into other criminal activity, and that's how I ended up in the back of that all-black Ford Excursion on my way to federal prison. Here's the thing about life. Everybody's got a purpose. I like to call it your purpose print. A purpose print is like your fingerprint. It uniquely identifies you. You got a purpose print on your life. There's something that you can do that nobody else can do. You have a unique amalgamation of gifts and talents and upbringing, passions, that make you different from anybody else. It's your purpose print. Everybody say purpose print. Purpose print. You bring something special to this school. You bring something special to this community. You bring something special to your home. You are a unique individual. You have gifts. But here's the thing about purpose. I don't accomplish purpose without learning how to embrace pain. Pain is a part of purpose. We do not get to accomplish purpose unless we learn to endure problems. I know it's aggravating, frustrating, agitating. I wish it could be different. But here's the thing about life. You have a purpose, but to accomplish it, we have to embrace pain. Everybody say pressure. What are you going to do when the pressure hits? Because here's the thing about purpose. Most of the time when we think about what we want to accomplish, that day when we get the degree, that day when we begin making the money that we want to make, that day we get to buy that fancy new car we always dreamed of, the day we get our first mortgage, the day we walk down the aisle, whatever that purpose is, when we think about it, we usually don't think about the problems, do we? We don't think about how hard it's going to be to earn that 6 figures. We don't think about the professors we're going to have to endure as we work towards that graduation, do we? Most of the time, we only think about the bright purpose, but we don't consider the frustrating pain, the pressure. I want you to be better than I was. And I'm going to help you. I'm going to give you the principles that I wish somebody would have taught me, that would have helped me to endure my pain a little bit better so that I could have gotten to my purpose a little bit faster. Most of the time when we get into frustrating situations, we go into survival mode. Will everybody say survival mode? Survival mode. Survival mode is a negative response to pressure that results in decision making that hinders purpose. Survival mode is what we try to escape to versus embracing when we're in the middle of pain. Survival mode is what we run to because we don't want to endure the pain. Survival mode looks different for everybody. Survival mode could be the wrong crowd. Survival mode could be the alcohol. Survival mode could be the drugs. Survival mode could be promiscuous activity. Survival mode could be Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok. Survival mode is anything we run to try to escape versus embrace. See, for me, survival mode was the wrong crowd. Survival mode was the drugs. Survival mode was the alcohol. Survival mode was the women. I was trying to escape the pain instead of embracing the pain. And here's the thing when you try to escape. Here's the thing about survival mode. There's no way around pain. The bad thing about survival mode is you escape and then you enter more pain. You escape for a moment, but then when you get back to life, it's worse than it was when you tried to escape. Survival mode leads to increased pressure, not released pressure. Here's the question. What's your survival mode? What are you running to that's not helping you escape, but actually delaying the destination you were designed to be in? I want you to identify your survival mode tactics. I don't know what it is for you. Could be money. Could be your upbringing. It could be relationships. But I want you to figure out what you're escaping to so you can identify it and eliminate it. Because once you identify and then you eliminate, you go to the next level. What you get to after you get out of survival mode is what we call mental toughness. Mental toughness is when we apply the correct principles in pain, and because we apply the correct principles in pain, we end up living a life of purpose. The first principle to being mentally tough versus living in survival mode is identifying your purpose and your passion. See, a person with purpose is motivated to endure pain. See, people who don't understand their purpose, people who have not identified their purpose, are easily distracted. Here's why. Because you don't have anything to filter your decisions through. When you're a person of purpose and you understand what your designed destiny is, you begin to filter your decisions through that purpose. So if your purpose is graduating, you begin filtering the friends that you hang out with through graduating. So you begin looking at the people that you're surrounding yourself with saying, are you going to help me get to graduation, or are you going to help me get out of graduation? Your purpose becomes a filter for your friends. When you have a purpose, it becomes a filter for your habits. So there may be a party that you can go to. There may be a place where you that you can kick back. But because your purpose is graduation, you begin filtering your time through that goal of graduation. You can't accomplish purpose until it's identified, because you can't hit a goal you don't have. What's your goals? And your goals should be specific. Don't just make it graduation. What GPA do you want to have? How long do you want it to take? Everybody say purpose. Here's what I like to remind people as it relates to purpose. Purpose isn't just profits. Too many times we judge our goals based on how much money we want to make. Let me help you with that. That's the wrong goal. You don't make decisions based on income. We make decisions based on impact. When you make decisions based on impact, income always follows. Impact is what gives you passion. Everybody say passion. See, when you have passion and purpose, you always push through pain. Because when you're inspired about getting up in the morning, when you're passionate about whatever it is that you're doing, you can always endure the pain because there's something greater that's motivating you. You don't chase profit, you chase purpose, and profit end up chasing you. Here's what I mean. This isn't an exaggeration, this is facts. You have never heard of a person living in purpose commit suicide. Never happened. But we hear about rich people commit suicide all the time. We hear about famous people who commit suicide all the time. We hear about people with 1 million Twitter followers commit suicide all the time. But you've never heard a person who was passionate, living their life in purpose, jump off of a building. Why? Because when you're in purpose, you're in peace. You're in joy. You're loving life. That's why I don't want you to leave here without identifying your purpose and your passion. Because when you have purpose and passion, it protects you from the pains of life. See, one of the things that should have happened for me, after I found out that both of my parents were dying from AIDS, is somebody should have helped me identify what I wanted out of my life, so that I would have had the purpose and passion to push through the pain and ignore the survival mode tactics. Everybody say perspective. Not only do you need to understand your purpose and passion, but you also need to understand perspective. Most of the time when pressure and pain hits, we go to emotion and then we go to behavior. Everybody say head. Heart, hands. When pressure hits, what do you start thinking? When something's not going your way in that class, what are you thinking? Drop the cuttings. Here's the thing about your head. Your thoughts lead to your feelings. Feelings lead to your hands. Those are your actions. Everybody say head, heart, hands. You have to start with what's in your head. You will never ever be able to deal with what's in your heart until you deal with what's in your head. And once you figure out what's in your heart, then you can get to your hands. That's your behavior. See, most people start here. You want to change your habits, but you can't change your habits until you change what's in your head. You can't get better grades until you figure out why better grades aren't important. You have to change what's in your head before you can change what you're doing with your hands. And I like to call that perspective. See, perspective gives me the power to change how I feel and then change how I behave. See, we've got to change our perspective of pressure and pain. What if I told you that pain wasn't a bad thing? What if I told you that pressure made you better? What if I told you that when things did not go your way and wasn't the end of the world, it would then change the way that you feel, then it would change what it is that you did. See, I thought pain was a bad thing. I thought that when my parents were dying from AIDS, that meant I couldn't live a life of destiny. I thought that pain was actually preventing purpose. But what I've realized is that pain does not prevent purpose unless I allow it. Pain actually promotes purpose. Inside of that pain was purpose for me. Inside your pain, inside your pressure, I don't know what it is. There's purpose there. Here's what I mean. pain is your passport. A passport does two things. It certifies your identification. You can't get a passport without taking ID, birth certificates, etc. So for you to get a passport, you have to certify who you are. But it also gives you access to new destinations. A passport certifies your identification, and a passport gives you access to new destinations. That's why pain is your passport, because it certifies who you are. People will tell you who they are all day long, but watch them when they're going through pressure and you'll find out the truth. You can talk a good game, but talk is cheap. Pain will reveal the truth about you. Anybody ever been in a relationship with somebody that said they loved you? But you didn't know that they really loved you until pain hit you. Did they stick around? Did they help you grow? Or did they leave? See, talk is cheap, but pain certifies who you really are. But then it also gives you access to new destinations. Because when you grow in that pain, when you become resilient through that pain, when you learn how to embrace the pain versus trying to escape the pain, it actually grows you. It makes you more intelligent. It makes you more educated. It makes you more inspiring. And then because of what you got in the pain, it releases you to grow into other areas of your life. It certifies your identification. And it gives you access to new destinations. I love what Muhammad Ali said when a reporter asked him, "How many sit-ups do you do?" The great Muhammad Ali. That's where we get the term GOAT, greatest of all time, from. Greatest boxer to ever live. What do you do when you work out, Muhammad Ali? How many sit-ups do you do? I want to know how you get into such great shape, the reporter asked. Muhammad Ali said, "I don't count my sit-ups." She's like, "What do you mean you don't count your sit-ups? How do you know that you're accomplishing your goal? How do you know how many sit-ups you're doing if you don't count them?" He said, "I don't count my sit-ups because I only start counting once it starts hurting." In other words, Muhammad Ali said, if it doesn't hurt, it's not helping. Why would I count something that didn't hurt me? Why would I count something that didn't cause me to sacrifice? Why would I count something that did not cause pain? If it's not hurting, it's probably not helping. If it's not pushing me, I'm not going to get into purpose. I don't count all my sit-ups because some of my sit-ups are easy. See, champions look at pain differently than normal people do. Champions understand how helpful some hurtful things can be. That's why I don't want you to quit in school. That's why I don't want you to throw in the towel. That's why I want you to endure instead of trying to escape. Because champions understand if it's hurting me, it's helping me. If it's costing me more than I was ready to give, it's probably the right thing. Why? Because it's going to grow me. Too many people quit too soon. We live in a society where people don't like sacrifice. We want it right away. Instant grits, instant oatmeal. Instant, we can become popular overnight in 2022. I can go viral. And there's nothing wrong with some of that. But real success only comes after real sacrifice. Everybody say perspective. Everybody say preparation. If we're going to turn pain into purpose, we need to be prepared for pressure. I don't know if you all remember this or how many sports fans we have. Any Cowboy fans in the crowd? Mike, I'm gonna ask you to leave, thank you. There was a game where the Giants played the Cowboys. And Odell Beckham caught a pass in the end zone over one of the Cowboys defenders with one hand. And because of this spectacular catch, many say this was the best catch in NFL history. He blew up overnight. And after the game, a reporter asked him a very interesting and intriguing question. She said, Odell, how did you make that catch? Listen to what he said. He said, I was prepared. Did you get that? He said, when pressure hit, when my time to shine came, I was ready because I was prepared for it. See, you gotta understand that if you're going to achieve greatness, it's not gonna happen unless you're prepared. You have to get ahead of the game so you can shine during game time. So during practice, he was already practicing how I'm going to make a magnificent catch with one hand. So when his opportunity came and the pressure hit, he was prepared for purpose. Are you prepared for purpose? You got to get ahead during the good times so when the bad times hit, you're ready for the pressure. You can't wait to the day before the exam to handle the pressure. Here's a beautiful thing about a syllabus if you read it. It'll actually tell you sometimes when the tests are. And you can't wait till the day before and think that you're going to be able to handle the pressure. You gotta be prepared. Because here's what you learn about life. You're either coming out of pressure, going into pressure, or already in pressure. You're either coming into pain, in pain, or coming out of pain. So you might as well be prepared. Everybody say people. If we're going to turn pain into purpose, we've got to understand our passion and purpose. We've got to change our perspective of pain. We've got to get prepared. But we also have to be very careful about people. According to the ADA, about 70,000 people a year die from secondhand smoke. What's secondhand smoke? Secondhand smoke is where you don't smoke, but someone around you does. You don't have the habit. They do. But you get the negative repercussion. Secondhand smoke. You don't smoke, but you're surrounded by people who do, and what should just be impacting them ends up impacting you. So 70,000 people a year die from a habit that they don't even have. You can die from secondhand laziness. You can die from secondhand bad habits. You can, here's the thing. It's not just about what you do. It's about who you surround yourself with, because you will pick up every habit of whoever you allow in your space. If you hang around 4 broke people, guess who'll be the 5th? You will pick up the habits of those who you allow in your space. You have to protect your surroundings. You have to be more selective about your surroundings. You have to make sure that the people who are in your space have the same desire for success and purpose that you have. I know this is a bad word, being stuck up, but sometimes I think we need to be a little more stuck up. Sometimes I think we need to be a little bit more confident. Sometimes I think we need to be a little bit more selective about our surroundings, because if you allow a person in your space, you're automatically giving them permission to impact your purpose. I take resumes. If somebody wants to be my friend, if somebody wants to occupy my space, I need to know what your goals are. I need to know how you treat your family. I need to know what you're doing in your community. Because I'm selective about my surroundings, and I don't want anything negative impacting what I'm trying to do that's positive. Sometimes when we're in pain, hurt people attract hurt people. And we give the wrong people access to influence. I want you all to consider, as you're accomplishing purpose here, who's in my space? Are they inspiring me? Are they encouraging me? Are they bringing the best out of me? Are they pushing me to the point of my purpose? Are they a part of my path? Or are they a hindrance to what should be happening? I want you to be selective about your surroundings. Y'all been a great crowd. I'm almost finished. I want to leave this thought with you. How are you going to embrace your pain and pressure and turn it into purpose? I want you to write down what your goals are. And I want you to be specific. I want you to ask yourself, what parts of my life are hindering or helping me accomplish said purpose and passion? And I want you to make sure that your purpose isn't just surrounded by a paycheck, but your purpose is surrounded by what you're passionate about. And then I want you to figure out what type of people can help you accomplish the purpose that you have. Because here's the beautiful part about growing up in 2022. You have access to unlimited information. You can follow some of the most brilliant minds this world has to offer. Figure out who is doing what you're doing and get them in your personal or digital surroundings. Who are you following on Instagram? Who are you following on LinkedIn? Who are you connected with that can inspire you to transform your pain into purpose? Because I'm here to tell you, if you're willing to embrace your pain, if you don't throw in the towel, if you're willing to endure the pressure, I'm telling you that there's purpose on the other side. I lost both my parents to AIDS before I turned 16. I'm what was considered a double AIDS orphan. Me and my sister were a part of the first group of people to lose both of their parents to AIDS in the United States. I thought my life was over. But what I've realized is that if you're in it, you have the strength to win. That if you made it this far, you can make it further. What I thought was a hindrance to my purpose was actually helping my purpose. What I thought was there to destroy me, I found out that it was actually there to develop me. I was meant to inspire people. You can't inspire people unless you have been inspired. I was meant to help people transform their pain into purpose. Well, what makes people want to listen to me is the pain that I went through. I was meant to share my story with the world. And what I realized is that the thing that I thought was never meant to happen was actually a part of the plan the whole time. actually get paid to tell people how messed up my life was. It's a beautiful thing. I still get to fly around for free like I did when I was a child. It's amazing how things can be restored when we embrace pain instead of trying to escape. So I want to inspire you to embrace your pain so you can maximize your potential. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, at this time, we're going to have a Q&A session, question and answer. Mr. Brian Roberts to my right and to your left. He's going to pass the mic around. If you have any questions, just go ahead and raise your hand, and then I'll introduce the panelists, the Q&A panelists. All right, Mr. Quentin White, Mr. Q, if you would come on up. Quentin is our recruitment specialist, high school coordinator. He works in our admissions department, and he's also an entrepreneur. Give it up for Q. Mr. Cornell Scales. Cornell works in our financial aid office. He's the financial aid navigator, father, community member, and he led our very first ever Juneteenth celebration of events this past June. Thank you, Cornell. Y'all give it up for Cornell. Did Marlo McIntyre make it? Is Marlo here? Okay, he's in class. All right, and then of course, Pastor Unique. All right, so does anybody have any questions? Raise your hand and Brian will come around with the mic.
Hey, how are you? Oh, it's on. 1, 2, 3. It's on. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Hi, I'm Emily Pinzell. I had a question for you, Pastor Unique. I was wondering, when did you start finding your purpose? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I'll get that kicked off. I'm sure my panelists, I don't think there's a specific way you can find your purpose. I'll give you my opinion first. If I'm being really honest, it starts for me with prayer. I know that's not very practical, but for me, I believe that God put me on the planet for purpose, and so, kind of seeking His opinion is super important to me. But then what I do is I ask myself, what would I do for free? Like, as I mentioned, I don't think purpose should be connected with profit. I think purpose has to be connected with passion. And so I often ask young people a question, or any person trying to figure out what their purpose is. If I was to give you $1 million a year, $100,000 a month, let's call it, but to get this $100,000 a month, you had to find somewhere to work for 40 hours a week. You couldn't take pay though, because I'm giving you $100,000 a month. Where would you spend your 40 hours? Would you spend it building your own business? What is that business? Would you spend it supporting a nonprofit? What is that nonprofit? Because oftentimes, whatever you would do for free helps you to determine what you really feel your greatest passions are. And whenever you follow those passions, it always leads to purpose.
Anybody else want to talk about their purpose?
I'll jump in on that. Kind of what Pastor said is, what would you do for free? For me, it's community service, but more in athletics. So I grew up playing sports. Sports is what got me to this point, as far as through college, paid for college, but it also made me the man I am today. So what I do for free now and what's my passion cold-hearted passion is athletics with youth, to the point to where I've lost some stuff as far as personal life because of it, but I'm okay with it because it's my passion. I know at one time, and I'm gonna just get personal. I know at one time when I was married, we were in counseling with the pastor, and he had asked Cornell, you know, if you had to choose between coaching or your marriage, what would you choose? I told him coaching,
Ouch.
and he looked at me, and he was like kind of with that confused look, and I was like, look, said love being married, love my wife at that time. I said, but coaching returns to me tenfold more than what marriage does, because I know whatever I pour into that, I'm gonna get it back 10 times without even having to blink or worry about it. So that passion, like you got to be willing to lose something and gain stuff at the same time, but be okay with it. And like you said, don't chase the money. Even the position I'm in now, working in higher education, I never thought I'd be in higher education. That wasn't even my plan. But I know one day I said, hey, I want to do X, Y, Z, and I want to be in this type of field. And just kind of talking it and manifesting it, like you say, praying about it, meditating. And one day just sitting at Verizon, get a phone call from a recruiter to get into higher education, into admissions. And that was back in 2013. And I've been in higher education ever since. And just with that type of stuff of manifesting. Then when I got into it, I said, well, I want to do XYZ again, which is not doing it for profit higher education, but actually getting into the state system and working with teenage students or students that are just kind of fresh out of high school or young adults to be more of an impact than dealing with grown people going back to school. So once again, it's a passion. And everybody that knows when you're in higher education, it's definitely not about the money. It's about the love and the passion for it. So as long as you kind of keep those two things intact and to the forefront, keep the main thing, your passion will eventually turn into income.
Piggyback off these guys, I'm next to two great guys, so I don't know much I can say. My purpose is to, if anybody knows me, is to help people. Helping people in family. Those two are my purposes in life. Man, and the crazy thing about it, I ended up in higher education by default. I'm a business owner, still a business owner. Somebody told me, man, hey, you got a job up in Augusta Tech, I think you should apply. You would be great in admission. I was like, right. I was like, well, I do the application. And I tell this story to people all the time. I did the application, came to the interview, it was super relaxed. I walked in the interview like, they hired me, they don't. I'm still getting paid at work already. Did the interview, and that killed the interview. That was almost 9 years ago, actually. And as I got into this position, and I just love helping people. I love the fact of what I do because I can, like today, we had 110 sixth graders. When I started years ago, I had students in middle school that I toured, and they came back after they graduated high school, like, hey, Mr. White, you remember you toured me in 8th grade? I don't remember, but hey, appreciate you coming back. So I love that part of it. I love that part of helping people. And then also with family. If anybody knows me, I take care of my grandparents. So that's something that I live by strongly. When I was young, I never had to worry about nothing. They took care of me. So I feel like I'm doing that over again now because they're in the 80s. So, to watch them grow older, knowing that eventually they're going to be here, it's just the fact that I can be here. And I can make sure they're good. They make sure I was good when I was a kid. So it's just family and helping people. Anybody know me, I love to help people. So that's a gift and a curse sometimes, being the go-to person. So some days I be like, but I love what I do. That's my purpose.
Any other questions? Brian? Oh.
Is it?
Yeah, just shout it out loud.
Okay,
Sure.
my name is Leah, This is a question for Pastor Unique. With you knowing that you lost both of your parents, I lost a parent of mine a few days ago. What did you do to motivate yourself? Because I'm currently in that state where I feel like I can't go on or move on with school, and I just want to know, what did you do to motivate yourself?
Yeah, that's a tough one. When I lost my father and my mom, I didn't make the right decisions. So the things that I did to motivate myself, if I'm being honest, was kind of what I spoke about. It was the survival mode. So to motivate myself, I went to drugs, I went to alcohol, I went to surrounding myself with the wrong people, etc. And that led to more pain. If I had to do it all over again, I would do exactly what you just did. I would reach out to help from people who have been through what I've been through. So we'll talk afterwards. I would surround myself with people who understand what pain and purpose look like, and I would lean on them during that difficult time. And I would allow myself the freedom to hurt and to deal with it. And I would go to counseling and talk with a licensed therapist about what I was feeling. And it's amazing when you mix therapy with love, how pain begins to subside. It doesn't happen overnight, but you'll see that every day it'll get a little easier to continue going on. And so, thank you for asking that question. That's a great question. And we'll talk about some resources and some things that we can do to help you transform your pain into purpose.
Thank you, William. Ryan, I have one up front. Has a question.
Is it on?
Tell you what, go ahead and shout your questions out, mic down right now, so just proceed with the question.
I think you just answered it. Some students over they're watching it live. They wanted to know, failure in life is inevitable in life at some point. How do you recover or bounce back from failure and maintain it?
My answer to that would be, first thing I got to do is figure out why I failed. And once I figure out what went wrong, I'm gonna fix it and I'm gonna jump out with 2.0. I always tell entrepreneurs that failure is a part of future success. And so failure isn't a bad thing at all. It's a learning opportunity. I tell people, fail fast and fail cheap. Go on and get it over with, because you don't know what you don't know. And sometimes when we're trying to do something, we just want it to be perfect, trying to protect our ego. It ain't gonna be perfect. Fail fast, but fail cheap. Make sure you got enough stashed away where you can come back and get it right the second time. Try not to go broke. But failure is a part of purpose, and you just gotta be resilient enough not to quit and believe in whatever it is you're trying to do.
Hello, Brianna. I just started here about a month ago, but I was wondering, how do you prioritize, or balance it all? Because, I just had a baby, I work here, I have a business, and I'm like, I don't have enough hours in the day, so I'm trying to figure out how to do it.
So prioritize, right? So the word prioritize comes from a Latin word, prior. Prior means former. So when you prioritize, you're figuring out what you should have done before. What should be coming former? What should be first? And you make that decision based on where is my greatest impact made. So as a mother, obviously that's your child. for me, I believe family comes first. And so you gotta figure out what that child needs and situate everything else around it. I don't know what your family support is like, etc. Obviously, you can get help with that. But when I don't believe in the saying there's not enough hours in a day. And the reason I don't is because there's billionaires who own, 50, 60, 70, 80 businesses, and they find time to get it all done. So if we all have the same 24 hours in a day, what principles are they using to where they can do 10 times as much as I can do and still have time to vacation and take a month off, and et cetera. So I think that when I'm looking at my life and I'm beginning to feel overwhelmed, I have to ask myself, what am I doing that I don't have to do? What can be delegated? I call it delegate to elevate. What can be given to other people around me that I don't necessarily have to do? Where am I wasting time? I have a goal to read a certain amount, but I wasn't hitting my goal. So you know what I did? I bought a Bluetooth speaker and I put it in my bathroom. So now I listen to a book while I'm in the shower. You know what I mean? Like, there's always ways to increase productivity if we're paying attention to how we're spending our time, who we're spending our time, how much time am I on Instagram, how much time am I on social media, what am I doing that I don't have to do? Because priorities means I do what I have to do first, then I get to do what I want to do.
Well, the way that I do it, well, these two guys, I don't have any kids, so I can't say that, but family, I still take care of people. So family first, and then everything comes behind. And also, what I would like to tell you is, when you're doing your family time, don't mix your work, business stuff with that. See, a lot of people do that. You gotta have time for certain things. You have work time. You do your family thing, it's family time. You know how to separate all that. Because sometimes you mix all that kind of together, and which is it's easy said than done. But you gotta make sure you separate time for everything. Because once you mix all this stuff, that's when you get super stressed out, and you feel like you're going crazy, right? Exactly. So my key is to just make sure you set aside time for everything. Definitely don't try not to mix it. Because I have a lot of people that always say, I can tell you myself, I've been on vacation with my laptop. And I'd be like, man, what I'm doing? But it's just in my head to feel like, because I'm a person that hates emails. Like, I hate to see emails when I go on my computer. Like, anybody can tell you that I go on my computer, I got 10 emails, I'm going crazy. Like, let me clear this out. Because the first thing somebody will say when they're trying to report you anything, why email me? Why email me? And it's there. You know what I mean? So I'm that type of person trying to clear email, but you got to make sure you set aside time.
Just to piggyback off them, is prioritizing. Like for me, I wake up early. Some people think I'm a little off, but I get up about 4:30 in the morning.
You are.
But the reason why I do that for myself is I recognize probably about almost a year and a half ago that I wasn't maximizing my time. So when I wake up at that time, at 4:30, I get up, go work out, come back home, cook breakfast, be able to watch ESPN, the news, whatever, and kind of prepare myself. But that's my time. Because I know ain't nobody else up that need me. Ain't nobody else up yet. So once I get my time in the morning, then I know after 7 o'clock, I know my little girl, she getting ready to call me, or I got to call her before she get ready to go to school. Or if she with me, then I know I got to change my whole schedule around her. But try to make some time for yourself first. Because if you're not right, then you can't be right for your kids, for your family, business, etc. That me time, and when I used to hear it years ago, like, me time, what do you need me time for? But now, like getting older, I recognize why you need me time. Because if your head ain't clear, your energy ain't right, not knowing what you got to do for that day. Use your calendar. Like literally map your whole week out, day by day, hour by hour, and stick to it. And you'll start finding out that a lot of people will fall off that you think that you need to be servicing. They'll fall off because you'll say, well, no, I got to do this. No, I can't break this schedule. No, I can't break this routine. And it gives you that structure, it gives you that discipline, and it kind of gives you that clarity. So when it is time to come to work here at Augusta Tech, you're doing the Augusta Tech business. But then when you get off here, then you can do your business, or when your kid needs XYZ, you're focused and you're focusing on that, and you're getting productivity done every day. And like I tell a lot of people too, and whatever you can't get done in the 8 hours that you're working, it's okay. It's okay. Lord willing, you got the next day to get it done. But just don't try to stress yourself out, and don't try to do everything in one day or 1 week. Just make sure that you're being productive and you're being vibrant throughout the day. That way, you can finish your task. And if you feel like you're in the slump or you just don't have it, like, it's okay to say, hey man, today this ain't the day. It's okay to tell people that. It's okay to send your boss an email, hey, I'm gonna be in about an hour or two later. I just need time to get myself together before I come in. So don't be afraid to say, hey, I'm not in the right space right now, give me a minute.
All right, thank y'all so much. Are there any other questions? We can go ahead and wrap this up. All right, if not, give it up for our panelists, Mr. Cornell Scales, Mr. Quentin White, and Pastor Unique Manley. If anybody else need any resources or have any questions, y'all can speak with any of us afterwards, get business cards or contact information. And thank y'all again so much for coming.